Hey everybody, welcome back to the Barndo channel. This is Charlie with 1845 Barndominiums. On this week's episode, we're in Hallsville, Texas to sit down with our owner, Cody Holloway, and talk about his barndominium here in Hallsville. We're going to talk about how he got started building, what it was like to design and build his own house here, and then talk a little bit about the details and how building this barndominium helped pave the way for 1845 Barndominiums and our processes and procedures for building dream homes for customers just like you. If you haven't subscribed to our channel, please go ahead and do that now. We would love to have questions and comments in the comment area below. And don't forget, ring that bell so that you get notifications each and every time we post content here on the Barndo channel. Please check out our social media outlets and of course our website, 1845barndominiums.com. If you or anybody else you know is interested in making your dream home a reality, whether it's floor plan purchase, a shell purchase, a kit purchase, or even a turnkey build like Cody's here, we would love to talk to you about how we can help you make that dream a reality from design to completion. So let's head inside and have a conversation with Cody Holloway of 1845 Barndominiums. So Cody, give us some advice and talk to us about the overall build process for his barndominium. So Cody, thanks for joining us today. I've got a few questions I wanted to kind of ask you and just dig in a little bit and just kind of carry on a conversation with you about your design. This is a custom design, right? So tell us a little bit about your layout that you have here.
So yeah, it's kind of unique. You know, I have a lot of kids. So I have 5 kids, and whenever we started having kids, we built a house and built another one, and then we got to the point where we need a lot more room. So we found some land a few miles up the road from our old house, and decided to build a 6-bedroom home, which is what we have here too. Fortunately, most of the kids are about out of the house or getting that way anyway. But yeah, we have a lot of space and a lot of room there too. And the Barndo, cost effectively and how I wanted to design it was by far the least expensive route to go, with a house that's really large, and encapsulating all I wanted in one space.
And so the first house that you had was a Barndo as well. You just basically outgrew that, needed something bigger.
Yeah. My wife and I's first house, which I've been building metal buildings for a long time.
Yeah.
And we decided to, before it was really a Barndo. I remember the first time somebody told me what that meant. They said, it's kind of a barn, kind of a condominium. They combined it, and I just had built metal houses. I'd built metal houses a long time, but my wife and I, we got married in 2005, and we decided to build our first home. So we found some land, and it was actually more cost effective at the time to build a new home than opposed to buying one, because we couldn't find one that just hit on everything that we wanted.
Yeah, it's hard to find one that checks all your boxes. You can find one that's close, but there's modifications you'd have to make and changes to make, so why not build your own?
Yeah, so we did that. We found some land not far from here and built my first metal home. I'd done general contracting before, so it wasn't my first time in that, but as far as picking my own things out, doing the design, figuring that out was the biggest task, along with the appraisal process was a little tougher, a lot easier now, but some people deal with.
So in a sense, you were your own guinea pig as far as building and kind of learning some things. So were there things that you learned building that first one and this one that carried over into what we do now with our barndominiums?
Absolutely. You know, before you worked with me, I dealt with customers every day. I would just really share my experience that I've done a lot. So it wasn't something that I really just through experiential knowledge, through figuring things out on my own as far as what I like, what I don't like. I had a builder tell me a long time ago, you have to build the same house 3 times to get it exactly right.
To get it right, yeah.
And so I found that to be true. So what I've done after really all my designs that we have now, I've just taken little bits and pieces of each one that I really like about them and just kind of incorporate to what I do now.
Yeah, something that you know is efficient and works well. That's what the kind of our designs that we have. Yeah. We built those. We know that they work. We tweaked them a little bit to make sure that we know that they're going to be efficient.
Sure.
And be good structures. So this is a 2-story build. I mean, it is a big house. You've got 6 bedrooms in here. How many bathrooms do you have?
5.5.
5.5. So that's a big layout. So a question that I wanted to ask, I get asked a lot, out versus up. You've heard me say that 100 times in the office. We want to talk about that. So did you ever consider a 1-story layout versus a 2-story with this size that you needed? Did you ever think, well, let's do it in a 1-story versus a 2?
So there is a couple of designs that kind of do the same feeling we have here. I just didn't want that big of a footprint. So I built my home is actually a 50 by 100, not including the porches. The last part of it, the last 40 feet of the 100 feet is actually our garage space. So I wanted the larger shop area all included. So I have a 40 by 50 garage / shop at the end of my house. So the actual living area is, again, 50 by 60. And you couldn't get with your room sizes I wanted, because again, building multiple ones, knowing what my wife wanted for my kids, size-wise, closet size, we want to make sure we had enough space, because along with a lot of kids comes with space needed for eating, for cooking, for all these other things too.
Yeah, I've got 3 of my own. It takes a lot of space, and plus you've got 5 kids, correct? You've got 5 kiddos in here, and you guys host a lot. So you have people here from church, you have people from school. I have my 3 kids. We have kids at the house all the time, so I know you guys have a lot going on here. I've noticed, even since I've come out here, you've added some things to the layout as far as on the exterior. What all have you added on to the original layout?
So one thing that's cool about Barndominiums that I do anyway too. So when we built our house here, I had really a finished design in place of how I wanted to look eventually.
Yeah.
Right. So when we moved in, we had most of the porches up. I wanted a big entertaining area. We have outside now. We have probably about 3,000 square foot of actually porch area that's more entertaining,
covered area there.
And so we actually didn't have that finished at first. Budgetary reasons for my end there too, because I was building so much in here. So we actually were able to kind of phase it out. So I actually built the home kind of in about 3 phases over about a 4-year span overall. So we had the living and the inside done, the garage done, and then most of the porches. And then for the stuff that I didn't have to have immediately for the entertaining stuff, i.e. the porches and a few other things, my shop that I eventually built, I didn't have to have that at first. So I did the phase 1, which I called it, and then did it all. But it was all planned initially in the beginning.
Yeah, so just, hey, we've got to get in here and get a living space, and then we can add on, do different phases as we go.
Sure.
So were there challenges with the height? Because this is a pretty tall structure.
We're at 24 foot at the eave.
24-foot eave height. So, I mean, that's a really tall structure. So were there any challenges as far as the design and the engineering and everything? I mean...
Yeah, it wasn't too bad. Once I kind of got the footprint done, getting the trusses and whatnot, it's kind of funny. You'll see that I actually have a 50-foot beam running across my center there too. So it was kind of funny when I had the conversation with the guy helping me design the wood part of the house. I asked him, I said, can I just get a 50-foot beam? He said, you can, but you have to hang it.
You got to get it up there somehow, yeah.
So I actually have a piece in the middle that you'll see that it actually doesn't need to be there. I just didn't want to have a crane to drop a 50-foot beam after the steel structure was up. So I really could have had a 50-foot by 30-feet area that's totally open, and that you'll see with the common area that I did versus what I have here too. But it's a big open space.
So that common area up here that you've got upstairs, we had a conversation one time a while back that somebody told you, hey, you need to close that off instead of leaving it open to like a loft area. So are there things that you've done in this one that you would say, well, I probably would do differently? Or so tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so that's really the only area that I don't love about the home. It's just mainly because it's not good for us. So we have younger kids. I say that. They're getting older now.
Yeah.
But the idea was for them to have their own play area kind of in the middle. So I have 4 older kids from 12 to 20, 2 boys on this side, 2 girls on that side, and my youngest son, he's 6. When he moved in here, he was like a year old. He stays on the bottom floor with me and my wife. So the idea was their own space. They can play at the time the Wii or whatever they're wanting to do. However, because I didn't really close it off into such a large open area, you can hear it really, really well. So the idea wasn't great. I should have done a little more of a covered area there too. In principle, it's a great look. It's great to look over it and you can see down, and great for decorations, but for it's a lot of space that I really can't use like I'd like to. It's turning more of a workout area.
Yeah, just a lot of noise carryover. If I'm sitting in the living room down here and they're up there playing and they've got friends up there, then it can get loud.
Well, you have essentially 1,500 square feet of open area upstairs. I mean, and then 1,500 downstairs too. So it's a lot.
So what are your loves of this? So what do you do now that you've lived here? And I built my own, and there's things that now that I live in there, I'm like, man, I'm so glad we did this. Mine personally, I wish I would have put overhangs on the end walls there. That's one thing I look at. I wish I'd have thought about that. But so what do you love about the layout that if you ever did build another one, hey, I'm definitely doing this in my next one?
So the first house we built, the guy that helped me design it initially when I was first getting into the business, we talked about building a area from the from the laundry area to the master closet to minimize the walking through. We loved it so much in the first house, did it again on the second one here too. That was a big part of that.
Very popular. A lot of people like that. And I don't mean to interrupt you, but you have laundry upstairs for the kids. They can do their own dang laundry, right?
Yeah, we have 2 laundry rooms. We do.
So they don't have to come downstairs and do theirs. And Laura, your wife, she doesn't have to deal with that. They can do all that upstairs. And we're the same way. Like, hey, do your own laundry. We'll take care of ours down here. You take care of yours up there. So what else? Anything else that you would carry over to a new one if you were to build?
Yeah. So that's a big thing. A sink in the laundry room, and this really doesn't really necessarily talk about barndominiums. This is any house in particular. We just like that. We have a large family, and we have lots of messy kids that are always messing things up there. Having that access right there is really important.
Yeah.
That's a big thing. We have 2 spots for 2 refrigerators. That's another big thing we have there too. But as far as the barndominium side of it there too, I really wouldn't change the layout except what it is there too. There's a lot of storage here that we love. Each of the kids' rooms, off an offset of it has about a 12 by 12 storage closet because I don't have actually attic space.
Yeah.
So it's actually a big storage area. One thing I did that I would probably do over again, my garage initially built was really large, 40 by 50.
Yeah.
When you have something that acts as a garage / shop area, it's very easy to get really cluttered. So I ended up actually closing in half of it, making a little man cave out of it.
Yeah.
And I have a second story that's out of storage now too, but it became a really messy space because it's such a large area. It's easy to get really
Throw stuff in there. Yeah, you start putting stuff in there.
Yeah.
So let's talk efficiency for a minute. So you have this huge vaulted area, big open hosting space. Tell me about the efficiency of the building. Have you suffered as far as electric bill, things like that, or is the efficiency of the barn itself held up the way we always advertise?
Yeah, so it's kind of funny. I was kind of nervous about that because this was the first one I did that was a completely foam. The foam is relatively new in East Texas as far as the cost of efficiency. It was really high for a long time, and so we foamed our house here. And I've been doing that for a couple of years, but in this size space, I was concerned about it just because there's so much stuff there too. So before we added the pool and a few other things on the outside, we were paying on average about 50 cents a foot for heating cool space. So our electric bill in the fall was in the low 200s.
Yeah.
And again, 6,300 square feet heating cool.
Yeah, that's pretty good. If you're low 200s for 6,300 square foot, there are people living in 800, 900 square foot homes that pay more than that. So it's really efficient because I get a lot of customers that will ask us, hey, if I have this big, they're scared of the vault, and the vaulted ceilings because they think, well, that's going to kill my electric bill. And it's not. I mean, that the entire structure is climate controlled, and then we're basically building inside of that. So it makes the entire structure pretty efficient.
Yeah, it's funny when I have discussions, and you do too, with customers, there's a lot of things we have to get past old ways of thinking. I've responded to several people on YouTube about, a black roof is the worst thing in the world. You're going to have all these other things. If you understand the how it's constructed, why you construct a certain way with vapor barriers, with the proper insulation, it's not really an issue. Now with shingles, like we've talked about before, I have no knock on shingles. We do a lot of
we do shingle roofs,
but it holds heat a lot worse, than the metal. Worse, that's not the wrong verbiage, I guess, but metal doesn't hold heat well.
So it'll reflect heat a little bit better versus absorb.
Yeah, that's the right verbiage for that. So that's something that's real important. I have a really, really dark bronze, a burnished slate
mine's
roof.
black.
Yeah,
I'm black and I have zero shade on mine, and we've had zero effect in our house at all. So ours is the same way. I'd said in a video that we recently did that ours is 2,560 square foot or whatever it is, and I haven't paid over $185. And I'm talking dead of summer when we moved in there. So they're extremely efficient.
Yeah, it's something that I tell people all the time. So what's unique about the way we build a barn door, which we have the thicker walls that some people aren't fans of, that's okay. What we do for that reason is when you have that thermal break, when you have different things that are preventing heat from coming in or out, because we outer insulate more than we do insulate, it provides such a better option there too. And actually, we had spoke yesterday about it. Going forward, the new energy code is requiring quite a bit more insulation going forward there too, which is going to be even better. But that's designed for a less efficient home. So when you add that to what we do here too, it's just going to make it really almost a passive house.
Yeah, that's going to be unbelievable. Completely sealed, completely airtight. And we're talking R values in the 30s, high 30s and 40s.
Well, that's where we are now. We're in the high 30s now, but it's about to go to almost to 50.
Yeah, so we're going to have to make some adjustments there, but it's a good adjustment to have to make. So that's going to wrap up our time for today with Cody. Cody, I appreciate you having us in your house.
Yeah.
We just wanted to take a second and talk a little bit about this barndominium, how it was designed. Cody actually designed this floor plan, so it's a full custom build. Who knows? He may build another one in the future. Maybe we'll get to go in there and look at it and see what the new design is. Kiddo's getting older. May wind up just, you and Laura in here at some point in time, but we need to just build you a tiny home so you can hang out with her all the time. But we're glad you joined us this week. Don't forget, if you haven't subscribed to our channel, please go ahead and do that now. We would love to have questions and comments in the comment area below. Don't forget, ring that bell. We're getting really close to 100,000 subscribers, and we'd love to have you join us here on the Barndo channel. Don't forget our social media pages. We have TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook, and of course our website, 1845barndominiums.com. If you or anybody else you know is interested in making your dream home a reality with 1845, we would love to talk to you about how we can help make that a reality from design to completion. Thanks for joining us this week on the Barndo channel. We'll see you next time.